Hey there, friends. Pastor Jason here. Glad you can join me for daily devotionals. Today we're in Exodus 19. So we're going to see the Israelites heading off into the wilderness of Sinai for their 40-year journey. Let us begin in verse 1. In the third month, on the same day of the month that the Israelites had left the land of Egypt, they entered the wilderness of Sinai. After they departed from Rephidim, they entered the wilderness of Sinai and camped in the wilderness, and Israel camped there in front of the mountain. Moses went up the mountain to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain. This is what you must say to the house of Jacob, and explain to the Israelites. You have seen what I did to the Egyptians, and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to me. Now, if you will listen to me and carefully keep my covenant, you will be my own possession out of all the peoples, although all the earth is mine. And you will be my kingdom of priests, my holy nation. These are the words that you are to say to the Israelites. After Moses came back, he summoned the elders of the people, and he set before them all these words that the Lord had commanded him. Then all the people responded together, We will do all that the Lord has spoken. So Moses brought the people's word back to the Lord. The Lord said to Moses, I am going to come to you in a dense cloud, so that all the people will hear when I speak with you and will always believe you. Then Moses reported the people's words to the Lord, and the Lord told Moses, Go to the people and consecrate them today and tomorrow. They must wash their clothes and be prepared by the third day. For on the third day the Lord will come down on Mount Sinai in the sight of all the people. Put boundaries for the people all around the mountain and say, Be careful that you don't go up on the mountain or touch its base. Anyone who touches the mountain will be put to death. No hand may touch him. Instead, he will be stoned or shot with arrows. No animal or man will live. When the ram's horn sounds a long blast, they may go up the mountain. Then Moses came down from the mountain to the people and consecrated them. And they washed their clothes. And he said to the people, Be prepared by the third day. Do not have sexual relations with women. On the third day, when morning came, there was thunder and lightning and a thick cloud on the mountain, and a loud trumpet sound, so that all the people in the camp shuddered. Then Moses brought the people out of the camp to meet God, and they stood at the front of the mountain. Mount Sinai was completely enveloped in smoke because the Lord came down on it in fire. Its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace, and the whole mountain shook violently. As the sound of the trumpet grew louder and louder, Moses spoke, and God answered him in the thunder. The Lord came down on Mount Sinai at the top of the mountain. Then the Lord summoned Moses to the top of the mountain, and he went up. The Lord directed Moses, Go down and warn the people not to break through to see the Lord, otherwise many of them will die. Even the priests who come near the Lord must purify themselves, or the Lord will break out in anger against them. But Moses responded to the Lord, The people cannot come up Mount Sinai, since you warned us. Put a boundary around the mountain and consider it holy. And the Lord replied to him, Go down and come back with Aaron. But the priests and the people must not break through to come up to the Lord, or he will break out in anger against them. So Moses went down to the people and told them. Let's do chapter 20 as well. Chapter 20, the Ten Commandments. Then God spoke all these words. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the place of slavery. Do not have other gods besides me. Do not make an idol for yourself, whether in the shape of anything in the heavens above, or on the earth below, or in the waters under the earth. You must not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the father's sin to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing faithful love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commands. Do not misuse the name of the Lord your God, because the Lord will not leave anyone unpunished who misuses his name. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. You are to labor 6 days and do all your work, but on the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You must not do any work. You, your son or daughter, your male or female slave, your livestock, or the foreigner who is within your gates. For the Lord made the earth and the heavens and the earth, the sea and everything in them in 6 days, but he rested on the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and declared it holy. Honor your father and your mother, so that you may have a long life in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. Do not murder, do not commit adultery, do not steal, do not give false testimony against your neighbor, do not covet your neighbor's house, do not covet your neighbor's wife, his male or female slave, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. All the people witnessed the thunder and the lightning, the sound of the trumpet, and the mountain surrounded by smoke. When the people saw it, they trembled and stood at a distance. You speak to us, and we will listen, they said to Moses. But don't let God speak to us, or we will die. Moses responded to the people, Don't be afraid. God has come to test you, so that you will fear him and will not sin. And the people remained standing at a distance as Moses approached the thick darkness where God was. Then the Lord told Moses, This is what you are to say to the Israelites. You have seen what I have spoken to you from heaven. You must not make gods of silver to rival me. You must not make gods of gold for yourselves. You must make an earthen altar for me and sacrifice on it your burnt offerings and fellowship offerings, your sheep and goats, as well as your cattle. I will come to you and bless you in every place where I cause my name to be remembered. If you make a stone altar for me, you must not build it out of cut stones. If you chisel on it, you will defile it. You must not go up my altar on steps, so that your nakedness is not exposed on it. Well, chapters 19 and 20. We see the importance of the Lord's command, how he considers his own commands, right? He must not go to the mountain, otherwise the Lord saying about himself in the third person, the Trinity, he will be angry. He will punish you if you come to the mountain, right? And Moses is like, they can't come to the mountain, like you said not to. But the Lord knows the mind of man. They might want to rush in. And then you get the other side of things. You get the fear of them, like just the thunder and the lightning and the mountain shaking is enough for the Israelites to back off. They keep their distance from Moses as he's talking, but they want Moses to be the intermediary between them and Moses. They don't want direct relation. It's interesting to think about. And then we've got the 10 Commandments, right? Those commandments that we all try to teach our children and try to remember ourselves. It's certainly something that we should keep before us and help kind of guide our lives. And it's interesting to note too that, even back then, the Lord is setting up the idea that sin is a thing, that there is such a thing as sin and being unrighteous before the Lord, and that we need to be willing to confess our sin to the Lord, ask for forgiveness from the Lord. Praise God, we have Jesus. May we continue to seek his forgiveness through his Son, Jesus Christ. And I hope if you're watching this as it's recorded, that you keep that thought in mind as we celebrate the birth of Jesus here during the Christmas time. With that, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Be blessed, be a blessing, and I will see you tomorrow as we're continuing in Exodus.